Hey guys, you're with CarBuyer.com.sg. Today we have our review of the BMW iX3, the fully electric version of the X3 SUV. We'll tell you why it's the cheapest X3 in Singapore, but we also think it's probably the one to get. So the iX3 is the fully electric version of the X3, and you can see that from here. So BMW hasn't gone wild with the styling like, yes, this is an electric vehicle. I want you to know. I want you to know about it. So very subtle. We've got our blue rings around the kidney grille, although there's not really a grille, it's kind of a closed off section. So we see this non-grille approach in a lot of EVs these days, kind of like a little dimpled pattern here. But what's interesting here is that underneath there's actually airflow goes in through here, and there's actually a curtain down here. So it's the active flap for the active aerodynamics of the car. And obviously, because this is an EV, they had to work on the aerodynamics to make it better than the gasoline car. And of course, here we have our blue ring around the BMW badge. Also, we've got 20-inch aero design wheels. These are for smoothing out the airflow as well. Again, blue highlights there and blue highlights there, as well as a little eye badge here. And that's pretty much it in terms of showing off the electricness of the car. Whether you like that or not, of course, is up to you. Personally, we quite like the subtlety. If you want to buy an electric vehicle and drive one and you don't want everyone to go, whoa, you drive an electric vehicle. If you don't make a big deal out of it, this might be the electric car for you. Okay, this is an electric X3, so it has a lot of the practicality the normal X3 does without too much of compromise. So boot space, 510 liters, which is about 40 liters less than the normal gasoline X3. If you fold up here, you can see that there's a section here for the battery and the power electronics underneath, a little shelf down here as well, but still pretty good. And of course, you can take this out, you can fold the seats down, you get more than 1,500 liters of space, 40-20-40 split folding seats and automatic tailgate. But let's go have a look inside the rear seat. Okay, so as a mid-sized luxury SUV, quite a bit of space on the inside, good for families, I would say. And move all the way in. Ooh, crack. Yeah, so very good headroom, decent knee room, not a super huge amount, but pretty good. And the tall door aperture, is good for if you need to strap a child seat inside. And of course, this car has the panoramic sunroof. So it's actually quite a high spec car, despite being the least expensive X3. Come out in front and I'll show you. Okay, so this is the interior of the iX3, sorry. Start her up. So you see that little blue start button right there. Boom, startup noise, a very electric vehicle thing to do. Okay, so just like a normal X3, we have a 12.3-inch active driver's display, 10.25-inch touchscreen display, iDrive controller. We got BMW's intelligent personal assistant. Hey BMW, how much range do I have left?
The battery is 82% charged.
82%, pretty good. So what we like about the X3 is the luxury layout, the nice material. All this stuff is here. It's not changed at all. It just happens to be an electric car, but it's also a high spec car. Like what I said, we have our panoramic sunroof, we have our wood trim here, we got our nice steering wheel, the steering wheel controls, digital cockpit, we got our wireless charging, we also have Harman Kardon surround sound, we got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So all the nice stuff you would expect from a luxury SUV. And what we also like about the car is the way it drives. Okay, so there are a lot of competitors for the iX3 and the luxury electric SUV segment, but a lot of them are heavier and have more power, but are also quite a bit more expensive. But what also we like about the iX3 is the way it drives. So it drives a little bit differently from cars like the Jaguar I-Pace, Audi e-tron, Mercedes-Benz EQC. All of those cars have 400 horsepower, all-wheel drive, fully electric, and they all really kind of drive the same way, especially the EQC, which kind of feels like a very refined and elegant machine, but not really a sporty one like this one. So the iX3 has a motor driving the rear wheels, 286 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque. We also have adaptive suspension. There's no air suspension on this, but it's adaptive suspension. And with this rear-wheel drive layout, it actually feels quite agile, quite different from the competitors to drive. Let me show you. So I'm going to head off in comfort mode. And like other electric cars, it's really, really quiet. So all the noise you hear is from the guys outside. Inside here is absolutely no... he's detected my hand movements. Like, go away, BMW. Very, very quiet. And we also got glazed windows as well. So on the highway, in town, really refined. At low speed, if you're not pushing it, the suspension is comfortable. Like you felt, I just went over a bump. Might not be obvious on camera, but it is really quite comfortable. And totally no sound from the motor. And will you stop that? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've got to stop gesticulating, sorry. Put my hand here, drive like this. Yeah, so very, very refined. But of course, when we turn it to sport mode, there's this engineered sound as well, what BMW calls its IconicSounds. So made in conjunction with the award-winning composer Hans, what's his name? Hans and Franz. Hans Zimmer. Yes, Hans Zimmer. Sorry, I'm a bit slow today. Yeah, so... Oh shit, that was my helmet. So we're going to get another go at BMW IconicSounds again to let you hear it. So not quite in your face like the Porsche Taycan sound is, but it's quite nice. It's like a very technological ghost flying in the air behind you. Ooh. I quite like it. It grows on you. Yeah. And you know, people will debate about, oh, it's an artificial sound, but artificial engine noise has been a thing for at least the past 5 to 10 years. The last 2 BMW M5s had piped in engine noise as well. So yeah, go debate about that. Let us know what you think about artificial engine noises. So there's lots of torque, and because of the rear-wheel drive layout, I think it feels more agile from the wheel. So I'm going to throw this around a little bit. Well, most EVs, because of the low center of gravity, they feel a lot more agile than the weight implies. And the nice thing about the iX3 is it not only feels agile from behind the wheel, but also the braking is pretty good too. So it's not super heavy, only about 2.2 tons, But it is nice to drive, and I dare say a little bit more fun than the all-wheel drive ones, even though it's not the fastest in a straight line. All right, to sum up our review of the BMW iX3. So at 250 grand roughly, this is the least expensive X3 of them all. It also happens to be the electric one, and also compared to the competitors we mentioned just now, e-tron, I-Pace, EQC, cars like that, those cars are all about 300 grand and up. And BMW has managed to take advantage of the maximum rebates for this car to keep it relatively affordable. So it gets $45,000 off in rebates, 25 grand from VES, and another 20 grand from the EIEIO, which is the early adoption rebate for electric vehicles, which is the EEAI. But I think the most impressive thing about the iX3 is the range. Now, I've been driving this car about a day or so, and I also drove it during our first impressions drive. I got about 16.5 kilowatt per 100 kilometers, and that gives you about 450 kilometers of range. In Singapore, that makes it the most efficient BEV in this segment that we've driven so far. And 450 kilometers of range is a lot. You could go around Singapore, a gajillion times. How many times have you driven 450 kilometers in a day? In Singapore, you would never run out of range. You never have to worry about running out of battery. So exemplary performance from the range of the iX3. So to sum up what we like about the iX3, it looks subtle. It's not an in-your-face electric vehicle. It drives well like a BMW should. It has great range. It's a high-spec X3, but it's also the least expensive X3 of them all. And it's also quite a bit cheaper than the competition. Is there anything we don't like about it? Well, if you don't have charging at home, I think forget about owning an electric vehicle for the next 2 or 3 years at least. And this has fast charging and all, but I don't think you can make it work if you don't have somewhere to charge day to day. Of course, that is an infrastructure issue, not really the fault of the car. So that's our review of the iX3. Thanks for watching. If you want to know more If you like this video, please like it as usual. Please share it and subscribe to carbuyer.com.sg. Hit up the website for news, reviews, and more.